Now we put the potatoes on the boil here. And really the purpose of that is not to cook them all the way through, but to partially cook them before we fry them. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And a dual skillet kit, like the 8-inch stainless steel and the 8-inch carbon steel skillet, give you a lot of versatility for cooking. You're going to see that in a few minutes because we're going to go from this skillet to another skillet. And then we're going to fry our potatoes in this skillet again. So we're going to go back and forth here a little bit. Stay with me. Pretty simple. This grill rack makes it easy to adjust things and put them where you need them. And we're going to get after it right now. So we're going to set this off to the side for a second. And then we're going to take our potatoes that we've got here and we're going to drain them off real quick. Let me grab another glove here. Do this with two hands. We're going to drain this water off of these potatoes. We'll do that off to the side over here. And once you've got the majority of the water off of those, we're going to put some bacon grease in here. And the bacon. We're going to leave a little bacon grease in the pan. And we're going to start to fry these potatoes. Get the water burned off first. And then we can get after it. Now, while that's cooking, we're going to get our carbon steel skillet and just stick it right on the fire. We're going to put some water in that bad boy just to clean it out real quick, cook some eggs in it. And that's just to get rid of any scalding that might be in there real quick. We'll boil it up, wipe it out. It'll be ready to rock. Meantime, our potatoes are going. Just set this guy off to the side and let him do his thing while we do our thing with the potatoes here. And then when I got this skillet on the boil, what I'll do is I'll just take something that matches that curve and just kind of wipe that off real quick. Anything that kind of got cooked onto the sides, I'll wipe off. And when we're done, we're just going to wipe this out with a rag and it's going to be ready to cook on it again. So we're just trying to get anything that might have been cooked to the bottom or anything like that. Bacon-wise, well, we might have burned it or something. It feels pretty smooth to me, so not too worried about that. All right. Now we're going to get a rag real quick here. And we're just going to dump this off to the side and wipe it out with a rag. Real good. Pretty good. Pretty good. I got 99.9% of it out in about 2 minutes. Again, don't be afraid to scrub on this thing if you need to. You ain't going to hurt it any, all right? You're not going to hurt this skillet. It does not need to be seasoned at all. You're not going to hurt it, okay? We're going to get this thing nice and hot. And then we're going to get a couple eggs in here. Meantime, we're going to stir our fried potatoes up here. And they are getting good and hot. Might switch sides here. This is the hotter side of the fire over here. Speed this process up a little bit. There we go. right. These eggs scrambled up here a little bit. Again, don't worry about making a mess out of the skillet because you ain't gonna hurt it any. I kind of prefer metal spatulas in this. I feel like wood doesn't really work as well. I mean, it works pretty good, but I think metal works better, and I don't worry about metal. I just happen to have wood utensils with me today, so I'm using them. But I don't worry about metal on this thing at all. You can see there's no seasoning on that skillet whatsoever. I mean, we washed it out with water and wiped it completely out with boiling water. Ain't no seasoning on that thing. And you can push that right off the bottom. Don't hurt a thing. Look at that. I mean, it's like it's nothing. Again, a metal spatula seems to work better for me, but the wooden one works fine. You got one that'll get your corners. I'm here to tell you, I mean, you look at this skillet and you can just push that stuff right off of there like it ain't even there. Again, no seasoning on this thing whatsoever. So easy. I really like this skillet. This is probably the favorite thing I've ever made right here. Next to the canteen set is probably this skillet. You'll see how easy this thing is to clean out here in a minute too. We're going to get it cleaned out. Get these eggs scrambled up just a little bit more. We're going to put them with the rest of our stuff here. We don't need to cook these all the way either. They'll cook the rest of the way in another skillet. Easy enough. Scraped out into here. We're going to leave some junk in here on the sides of this thing, but we're going to get it out here in just a second. Show you how easy this thing cleans up. Set this off to the side and mix this bad boy up a little bit. Get these eggs mixed in. Yeah, stainless steel, cooking like a champ. Thing barely got anything sticking to the bottom of it, and it comes right off too. If you take care of this stuff right and you cook right, you don't have to worry about it. Stainless steel works good too. No question about it. Been cooking it for years. You just got to cook it right, that's all. We'll put this dude on here, get some water in it. We'll swap these dudes out so we're on the hot side here. And this will boil. Well, this don't need as much heat because it's almost cooked. Look at that, man. Money train, money train. Man, I'll tell you what. Got the heat turned up on this skillet over here to clean it out. We'll eat out of this bad boy, but man, look at that. I mean, there ain't really nothing stuck to the bottom of that thing at all. You got a little bit stuck to the sides here and there, but you're going to have that when you're cooking because obviously that's where heat is and there's nothing underneath that and it's not being agitated. So you're going to have some stuff stick to the side here and there. But I mean, that stainless steel skillet is spotless on the bottom. Look at that thing. Little stick right there. Pretty much spotless. That's great, man. You can season stainless steel too. I've got videos on how to do that. Make that stuff work beautiful. Cook perfect every time. All right, so once we've kind of scraped around this dude with the water, got any residuals on the side here off, kind of rubbed it around the bottom. Again, metal utensil, scrub pad, it doesn't matter. I just happen to have wood utensils out here today. They work fine too. And then we're going to just make sure that we've got everything fairly loose here. That was on the sides. And we should just be able to take this dude and dump it off to the side. Wipe it out. Got a couple spots by the rivets there. We didn't get scraped off good. There we go. All right. That is all she wrote right there. Clean as a whistle. Now the only thing I would do with that is Put a light coat of oil on it before I stored it, and it's ready to rock and roll. I just make sure it's good and dry. I put her up. All right, meanwhile, back to the ranch. We got a skillet full of goodness here. Holy cow. Bacon, eggs, fried potatoes. Ain't nothing in the world beats that. Oh. Woo. That's too good to talk about, son. Let's eat that round of skillet. Clean skillet, and we're done. Finished. Not much dishes there. Tell you what, when you get to the point you got this stuff right, man. Man, oh man. This is living good in the woods. So, I'm gonna get this skillet cleaned up, same as the other one. Hot water, wipe it out, done. Pretty simple stuff with this stainless steel and carbon steel cookware. All works great. All you gotta do is take care of it. And we got, I don't know, hour and 15 minutes maybe till dark. So we're going to stoke the fire up just a shade maybe and sit around here and wait for it to get dark, and then we're gonna crawl into the old Loue for the night. Not a whole lot to do now, but just kind of wait until dark. I was kind of hoping a rabbit would step out in this clearing about dusk, kind of pop me a rabbit. That didn't happen yet. Still got enough light I could shoot, but 15 more minutes, that'll be gone for sure. I got light inside the shelter here because it is getting pretty dark and I want to be able to film. But I just got the bedroll tonight. If you've got a proper bedroll and you've got proper ground insulation, you don't need a whole lot on top of you. I'm going to get a wool blanket, use that on top of me, probably just a military green wool blanket, just a twin size, will be plenty on top of me with the amount of coverage I've got underneath me here. The Pathfinder mattress, air mattress, is amazing. I've been using it since I got it. Since we got the very first prototype, I've been using the same one, and I've slept in temperatures very close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and been fine with not much more top cover than a decent overquilt type sleeping bag unzipped and just thrown over me, or a wool blanket. So there's definitely something to be said for having proper ground insulation. And I think that's probably in these Finn Loues. I see a lot of the guys over in Scandinavia and stuff, they definitely use reindeer hides and things like that on the ground, and that's to insulate them from the conduction. So we don't quite have that luxury over here, although you could carry a few deer hides or elk hides with you, obviously. But if you're trying to go a little bit lighter than that, some type of a blow-up pad that is real heavy duty, like the Pathfinder one, seems to do the trick for sure. I use it during classes, I use it during camps. I carried it with me when I went on the road, and it hasn't failed me yet. I love it, and I have not had it leak a single drop of air since I got it. So there's something to be said for that as well. All right, so I had a couple more things I wanted to do tonight before I hit the rack. It's pitch dark outside now, pretty much. And it's about, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 7:30. So probably gonna be an hour before I go to bed. Not a whole lot of reason to stay up late at night when there's nothing to do, right? Might as well get some extra sleep, get up fairly early in the morning, not 4:30, like early, like 6:37, and get after it. But anyway, what I want to do is, first thing I want to do is I want to show you a wool blanket trick that I use when I'm using a single wool blanket, like a military wool blanket with a bedroll like this, that will help you get better sleep. And then I want to show you another gift that Yopa sent me, and we're going to crack that dude open and see what it tastes like. So hang tight. All right, so I've got my wool blanket here, and I've got 3 horse blanket pins, or blanket pins, and a piece of utility cord here, a piece of utility rope out of my pocket. These are what we're going to use to get this set up to sleep in and sleep comfortable by creating a foot box. And that's one of the really important things about sleeping well, I think, in colder weather, is having a foot box to put your feet into, all right? Because I sleep with no socks on. So let's get this thing out and show you how that's done. All right, so we started with this blanket folded in half, and then we're going to take the bottom about 1.5 feet or 2 feet of that and fold it up one time just a little bit to give ourselves a little bit of a seam here, okay? And that's where we're going to put our blanket pin, but we're not going to start at the bottom. We're going to start about 1 foot up from the bottom and put those blanket pins to the outside like this, okay? And put one about every, I don't know, 8-9 inches, something like that. Put a blanket pin until you get that 2 foot hemmed up there. Okay, now once you've got that, you've got about 1 foot right here that you're going to gather up just like this. And you're going to take that utility cord and you're going to wrap that dude up. Just lasso that thing and tie it off. And you can just wrap around it 3 or 4 times and put a 1/2 inch in it at the end. Just something to seal up that end of it, just like that, okay? And now, when you come down here and open up the rest of the blanket, you've got an area down here at the bottom that has now become a foot box that you can put your feet inside of, that they're not going to come out of when you're sleeping in it. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Now you can see now that I've peeled this oilcloth layer off, I have my pillow bag and a shard of a wool blanket here. And this is like 1/4 of a wool blanket, like match coat size. And I just fold that in quarters just like that. And I put that inside this old flour sack. And that becomes my pillow at night. I can use my whoopee for this. I do it quite often, but this is much more comfortable, to be flat honest with you, than the whoopee is. Okay? Look at that right there. Blanket, and we're ready to go. Okay, so, take his hat off for a minute. While we're sitting here, Yopa sent me this. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but it is some type of a spruce lager. I assume it's a beer. Now, full disclosure here, I'm not a drinker. Once in a while, I'll have beer, and I can only drink Coors Light. If it's not Coors Light, I won't even drink it. I know I'm going to get some haters on that deal, but to me, Coors Light's the only thing I can swallow. The rest of that stuff tastes nasty. So every once in a while, I'll have a couple Coors Lights with my buddies or whatever, my brother, people at our shop, things like that. If we're in a business meeting or out celebrating something, I'll drink a couple of Coors Lights. So don't take my word for what this tastes like, because I might be like, yeah, but you might think it's great. So, Yopa, I appreciate it. We're going to try this out. Of course, it's going to have to make me go to the bathroom, I'm sure, so we'll take care of that before we crawl in a rack tonight. It's definitely stronger than a Coors Light. It's got that strong hops taste to it. But it's not bad. It's not great, in my opinion, but some people will probably love it. So we'll finish this bad boy. Here's to you, Yopa. Thank you very much, buddy. All right, so we just got rid of the, hopefully the last bit of that beer for the night. I'm sure as soon as I get warm, that'll change things and I'll have to get up, but that's beside the point. I will tell you, it was colder in Florida 2 weeks ago when I was camping there during HangCon than it is right now. So I can barely see my breath. You can generally see your breath at about 40 degrees, 39, 40 degrees. You can usually start to see your breath. Lighters quit working about 35 degrees. So if you're looking for a thermometer of some kind, there's a couple easy ones for you to tell the temperature outside. But I can barely see my breath, so I'm guessing it's probably around 41, 42 degrees. Again, warmer than it was in Florida 2 weeks ago. Certainly warmer than it was in Tennessee on my way down, or Georgia, where it was like 7 degrees one night and 22 degrees the next night. So let's look at this blanket and the way we're going to use this. I'm going to sleep on the other end up here because I think it's slightly downhill this direction. And I like sleeping with my head toward the opening of my shelter anyway. That's just a personal thing. I've laid out the canvas on the ground, or the oilcloth on the ground below my air mattress, and I'm ready to go. So let's talk about getting in this thing real quick. All right, so again, you know, I'm wearing minus 33 degree socks, by the way, minus 33s. I wear darn toughs all summer long, but in the winter, I prefer the minus 33s. They have a little bit more padding in them when you're wearing boots, things like that. Just a little side thing for you there. Now, all you need to do with this is open this dude up, just like this. Put your foot box up down there. Slide the foot box over your feet, just like that. And then slide down to the bottom of your air mattress, and you're good to go. All right, so should have enough blanket. You can pull it up close to you like this. And if you have to get in the fetal position because you get too cold, then you can pull the blanket up further, obviously. But laying straight out on me, I can still pull it up to my shoulders easy enough. Get in here and get comfortable. Again, if it's a little bit colder, hat, right? Some kind of a toboggan of some sort, minus 33 degrees, or some type of a buff over my head is always a good plan. Not going to get that cold tonight, so I'm not that worried about it, to be honest with you. But I do have a buff in the pocket of my vest. If I wake up and I need it in the middle of the night, I can grab it easy enough. It's right there, okay? So we'll see you guys in the morning. Well, we got a beautiful sunrise coming up this morning, looks like, and somewhere in here, a pair of dry socks. Yep. Good to go. Get those bad boys on. You got to underneath those covers in the morning. I put a jacket on. Whew. Not bad last night, though. Not bad. Pretty good, actually. Get those minus 33s back on. Pull this little blanket back over my lap for a minute. Say it's going to be a cloudy day today. The sun's going to come up pretty, but it's going to go up under the clouds pretty quick, too. So you see that red sky back there. That usually means some kind of a weather change, but I don't think it's supposed to rain today. So looking around this clearing out here, and I'm hoping I'd see a rabbit early this morning, but I don't see one of those this morning either. Didn't see one last night. But anyway, that's all right. We'll just get ourselves together and break camp and head on out. Get this video edited up and posted for you. Get it ready. All right, guys, so just a quick word on this Loue shelter. Obviously, this is a half shelter for the most part, and it's got a conical parabolic shape to it to help it control heat, regulate heat, things like that. However, we didn't have that problem last night because it wasn't cold enough to worry about that. So you're really worried about just blocking incoming weather and wind. And we've got the shelter. You can see the sun coming up over here a little bit northeast this time of year. So southwest is back this direction where the shelter is, and that is the direction of our prevailing winds, prevailing weather. So that's really the best you can do with a half shelter, is set that thing up so that it blocks that prevailing weather. And then if things change, they change, and that's the way it is. However, I'm pretty impressed with it. I like it. It's definitely got a lot of cover in it. It gives you room to sit up inside of it and still be covered. Obviously, you can drop the pitch of this thing in weather and things like that as well if you needed to. You could even come across the top and pull a flap over if you wanted to on some type of ridge line and get even more coverage if you needed to as well. I'm sure there's lots of different configurations you could do with this to kind of control that a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys joining me for this quick video, and I appreciate your views and I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything that you do for our school, for family, and for business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I hope to see you out here at the Pathfinder School in 2025 to train with us. Thanks, guys.